Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing how to use PLR as your webinar content. Now a great way to use PLR content is to repurpose it as content you're going to be sharing in your webinars. Now in some cases, depending on what kind of package you buy, you'll have slides already created for you. Now you can use those slides as your guide to teach on the subject that you're going to be doing on your webinar. Now, in many cases, you will be using the information that you pick up from the PLR to learn the content well enough to teach it on the webinar. Now, this will be important because you want to have the webinar positioning that makes you sound like an expert. Now, one other interesting thing that you can do is to take PLR videos, splice them together into 1 hour of content for an automated or recorded webinar. Now, in another sense, since part of what you'll be doing is to rebrand any of the graphics that you get, don't be afraid to use them to make your slide presentation attractive for your webinar. Now, this is easily accomplished by using your graphics as a background image, faded enough for people to clearly read your message. Now, one of the things that keeps marketers from doing their own webinar is not knowing exactly what to say. Now, most of the time, this is due to feeling less than confident about the content they're presenting. Now, on a webinar, what's most important is the presentation that people are going to be seeing on their screen. It should not look like information that they want to read. Instead, the information should be used as a guide for the audience to follow the presentation. So in other words, it shouldn't look like a word processing document. Now, some webinar creators use a script, which is a good use for some forms of PLR naturally. Other webinar creators speak extemporaneously without a script, where those presentation slides will be guiding the audience. Now, if you choose to do your webinar in this way, speaking extemporaneous, you will use your PLR to learn your subject matter. You can then use multiple PLR products on the same topic, and in this case, you will be producing something original. In fact, depending on the rights of your PLR, you can easily sell or use your presentation as part of a future information product. The webinars do require that you break up your audience attention with relevant graphics. Now, if you choose to use graphics of any kind in your webinar presentation, make sure that it doesn't overpower the information you're sharing. Now, if you want to use graphics to theme your content, you can again take them and create an opaque background or a very light background on your presentation slides. One other thing webinar hosts do to keep people engaged to the end is to promise them a free gift. And this is a great use for a PLR product component. Now, you can do the same thing on a webinar to actually get people to attend. You can promise them a free piece of content or something free. Now, if your goal is to sell a particular PLR product as a result of your presentation, you want to give good content while avoiding telling your audience everything they need to know. Your audience's attention span is probably going to be about 20 minutes long at the maximum. Of course, as we talked about in another video, a good way to think about how to organize your content should follow a recognizable pattern. Now, in your webinar, you want to answer the questions why and what to do. Now, in the front-end offer, you should be selling them a product where you'll answer the question what to do in a lot more detail. And then in the back-end offer that you sell them, you want to answer the question, how should I do this? If you choose this framework, you'll want to organize your content along these lines. That means that your webinar, if designed to sell, should use the PLR content telling them why the topic is important for them to consider. It should then use the PLR telling them what's possible if they learn the content or implement the method that you are teaching. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.